Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto, or of course, welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome to this new video in which we'll talk about Ethereum again. I know a lot of you are interested in Ethereum. The price action itself at this point of time is actually very, very interesting as well, but we'll talk about that in a moment, because that's what we're going to do, right? So we're going to do a full technical analysis here. I'll zoom out a bit, and most of you that watch these Ethereum videos every time I make them already know my thoughts on the most likely direction if you zoom out. However, especially on the short term, since Thursday, when Ethereum technically broke out, the price action has been very interesting. We have broken out, like I said, on Thursday, and so far we've also held that. I don't really expect that to hold over the course of the weekend, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But that doesn't mean that this is less bullish, right? This is still a very bullish indication, and I still think it increases the probabilities. Because in the end, we're always talking about probabilities, but it increases the chance of getting a real rally into our next resistance zone right here at 1920 and 1940, which is ultimately the level we want to get to. But yeah, so zoomed out, for those of you who don't know, we had balance right here at a major point of control historically, around 1600. From there, we were able to get it with the markets. Of course, we were able to get some new momentum and to try to at least reclaim back into this zone right here on top of 1760. And so far so good, but I would say we're still in a bit of a fragile spot, right? I mean, one bearish headline, anything like that, and Ethereum will fall back down below 1760, 1750, which is our main support level. I don't expect us to reach that if we have normal price action, to be fair, and we'll get to that in a moment. But like I said, the market is very reactive to headlines, right? So if we get a bearish headline, you should still be aware of that. And if we fail to hold 1760, 1750, really remember that level, please. But if we fail to do that, then we'll drop back down to 1640 easily. There's a lot of imbalances there, so it's unlikely that there's a lot of liquidity that can catch the price. But that's besides the point. So that's in the case we get bearish news. But ultimately, right now, if we zoom out, if we zoom in, what you'll see is that we broke out on Thursday. The main kind of intraday resistance level is this zone right here. And so far, we have been able to hold that, right, with some decent volume as well. Yesterday, especially after bouncing from that level, which is around 1820, we got some nice support, and we haven't been able to turn that into continuation, which is ultimately at some point of time what we do want to see. But the fact that we're holding that already means something, right? And ETH BTC, so the relative strength of Ethereum against Bitcoin, has been very, very stable. So that's not helping, but at least stability is better than a downtrend, which it has been in for the last year, right? So there's a bit of positive tones in that as well. The thing is that it's a weekend, all right? And what we're seeing quite across the board is that positions are being de-risked, right? So you can see for Ethereum since Thursday with a bit of a spike on Friday, but especially since yesterday afternoon, or yesterday evening, positions are closing off. Open interest is falling, and in general, breakouts are very difficult to hold over the course of the weekend, right? So that's why I would say short term, it's a bit more likely we will retest back into the range. But I do think from the POC around 1800 of this range, potentially from 1780, I do think we'll be able to get strong support. Reclaim back above the breakout levels, essentially, and that we can still get that move up higher. I still do think that's most likely when we're talking about the technical structure here for Ethereum, in combination with what I expect from the markets in general. But those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know for now. So hopefully that helps. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on my next videos, and bye.